Universe, planet of internet. We are here live for the evolution of quantum consciousness panel discussion, as we are recording live as well. I want to come to you today and discuss with these beautiful panelists the evolution of quantum consciousness. Our true nature is to be creative basically. We are each and every one of us are powerful creative beings that when we use our perceptions, right, this is your understanding of life, we create our collective as well as our individual experience of our reality. That is quantum consciousness at its very finest, right? So evolutionary consciousness is now showing up in new scientific data. We are always getting updates and whatnot from the scientific aspect, but today we want to go into a little bit of the woo side of things and enter the quantum field around quantum consciousness and how it's coming in at such a fast pace and how the collective is keeping up. I have a couple of questions for our panelists that we are going to dive into. And if you are not aware of the energy, the powerful energy that is going on right now, we have a full moon, we have a lunar eclipse, we currently have some solar flares throwing its energy from the sun at our electromagnetic field. So if you feel like you've been cattle prodded, triggered, glimmered, and all the other things in between, then welcome to planet Earth. We are here for a human and emotional experience, a physical and emotional experience, right? Enjoy the ride. It's part of the journey. So I'm just going to quickly introduce our panelists today. We have a couple of guests that have also joined us as well. So we have Jennifer Whittington. Welcome, Jennifer. And I'm just going to pull up your info. Here we go. So Jennifer is known as the Empire Heyoka. It's a visionary leader and highly sought after quantum shaman, soulpreneur, and the headmistress of Rise University. So the Choose Your Own Adventure is certainly on high priority when you work with Jen. She has a unique blend of spiritual wisdom, entrepreneurial expertise, and intuitive gifts, and she is dedicated to helping those individuals and businesses unlock their full potential. So welcome, Jennifer. Then we have Roger. Roger Burnley is an intuitive empowerment and life purpose coach and is also a sage, a mystic, and a spiritual channel. I think we're all spiritual channels here. He began his career in voice and performance more than 35 years ago. He's been around for quite a while and has started his personal and spiritual development long before that. I think we do that from the age of blip, don't we? He brings a beautiful wealth of experience and knowledge to all of his work and dedicates this to aiding others to become their very own best version. So welcome, Roger. Then we have Lesley, who is a communication expert, spiritual advisor. You can find her info at leslieynase.com and also intuitiveanimalhealing.net. So this will be an interesting conversation, especially with the pets. She's also a media personality on Books, Yarns and Tales, the TV show and Client Whispers podcast. So welcome. And then finally, we have Janaki, who is an agent of change in alchemy and well-being. She grew up in a yoga family and was fed lots of consciousness unconsciously. She's witnessed her parents many times either fist fighting, meditating, or experiencing conflict in her family. She hid behind that mask for quite some time, but now plays a powerful role in how power, love aligns you, and has taken off that mask and shows up in her true, authentic expression. She's mastered many things in her life, and today she joins us for the quantum consciousness conversation. So welcome again. So let's start this conversation with our very first question, and we'll go around the room, but I first want to ask And if any of our viewers have any questions, please put them in the chat. Please put them in the comments, and we will circle back at the very end. But I want to ask the question today of what role is quantum consciousness playing in the concept of our collective consciousness? How is that showing up in the world right now? And how can this be integrated through our spiritual practices and our understanding of the world that's going on around us? And I think we might start with you, Roger.
Okay, how perfect. First of all, Allison, it's so weird. Again, everything's so connected that you planned it on this stage as everything is moving. And so what I had received to understand this particular period in our world is that we're all moving through a planetary ascension, and we each will contribute to how that turns out by what we choose to do in our lives. When you talk about our spiritual practices, it's all energy. And so when I was told that I was given all this information years ago, I said, no, that didn't happen. I did. So how could that have happened? When I started automatic writing in '88, and I wrote everything down every single day, every morning. And then when I started seeing the changes happen, they said, well, we gave you everything. Okay, so I went back to find when you brought up quantum. I said, oh, let me see what that particular message was. Everything that exists is pure energy. This includes everything physical and spiritual. There is also what you might think of as an energy momentum, meaning that energy will move in a particular direction based on any force that causes it to do so. What causes this momentum to move in a particular direction in your personal reality is your thinking. This concept can escape you at times because you have become reliant on your seeing or physical senses. When you think of what can be discovered, has been discovered in your world through quantum physics, you will better understand the concept of energy momentum. The point is that in order that you might make the best use of your energy momentum, you need simply hold the belief that your thoughts or thinking are always directing your energy momentum in a particular direction, and then decide where you desire that direction to go and do it deliberately. In actuality, you do this all the time, whether or not you are aware of it. So,
thanks for the friendly reminder.
That's what we're each doing. We're contributing.
Absolutely. We are just moving forward one step at a time, day by day, minute by minute. As the clock goes, we can collapse the time and space when we use our energy in the effective and correct manner. And using human design is also another way you can do it. There is many different tools to be able to collapse time and space, but the quantum is literally just energy. So thank you for that, Roger. Thank you. Lesley, I'd love to hear from you.
This is just such a fascinating time for all of us to be here. And I'm so thrilled to be with so many diverse healers or light workers or whatever label you want to use, because everything's just changing so quickly. And for me, I remember, back when it wasn't even safe to talk about this stuff. You had to bring it up to people different ways. And then suddenly we're fast forward and here we are. You're talking 1 minute about entanglement and mirror neurons, and people are going, yes, I get that. Aren't you talking about quantum physics? Something's going. I was like, oh my God, I took so many years to help people understand what was happening with their pets, what's happening with themselves. And all they wanted was just fix this. And now people are starting to wake up and understand that they are that creator, what comes within them. And I love what Roger had to say, and I would add to that a little bit that, it's all about our thoughts, yes, but our feelings, and that when we go to manifest or change our direction, if we will, that we can already feel and be in that space, that it's already happened. And then like right now, it is happening so quickly that you're going, oh my God, how did that happen? And that's what our human brain needed to really function, John, for so long, was to understand. And I hear that from a lot of people. I can't wrap my brain around that yet. But I think that they are slowly getting there. And I think we all know that those who get it will ascend, and those who don't doesn't mean that they're going to die off or anything. They just won't be at the same level.
That's right. I totally agree. And the more consciousness that expands through these conversations and through anything really, you know, as we evolve, we just sort of impact more people. And like you said, no one's going to get left behind.
Yeah.
And it kind of feels like there was something that they reminded me to speak of, and that's the butterfly effect. What happens over there also happens over here. It's been scientifically proven that one single drop of our human blood that is located in the UK, whilst here I am sitting in Australia, if I do any energy work on myself, it basically changes the cellular structure of that blood droplet over in the UK. It's called the butterfly effect. And that is quantum consciousness at its pure and divineness.
Absolutely.
So thank you, Lesley.
No, I agree.
Thank you. Jennifer, what does the role of quantum consciousness play in our concept between the collective and how it can be integrated?
I have heard so many beautiful things, and thank you for having me on this. I'm super excited to be here and great feedback. I had a divine experience back in 2017, which opened me up to universal law and the mechanics of things. And one of the things that the divine was giving me was E plus R equals O, which is your emotions plus your reactions will always equal your outcome. And when I started, well, it made it simple for me. I was stuck in addiction for over 20 years, so I have a lot of recovery. And for me to get off that hamster wheel, I really had to start paying attention to my reactions, which were triggered from my emotions that were putting me on a specific timeline. And that's what we're talking about when we're shifting quantumly, is what timeline are we choosing? I see things like in a spiral effect, that it's always going to come back around. And when we get to that point, we can choose as the alchemist, because we have all elements inside of us, what direction to go in.
We either go up or we go down.
We go down. So the E plus R equals O, like when I'm recognizing the repeated patterns or that hamster wheel, it helps me stop and shift. How am I emotionally reacting to this, to have a different timeline, to have a different experience?
Different outcome. Yeah. That's phenomenal. I really do love that.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that.
I
Janaki.
like the simple things.
Yeah, simple is great. This is totally me. About half the world, I'm sure. Janaki, what is your perception on the role that quantum consciousness plays with the collective?
Oh my God. What we give ourselves, the desires of our heart, when we serve in whatever religion, I speak heart language, when we serve the kingdom of heaven inside our hearts, all else shall be bestowed onto thee. And I'm not as a big scripture person, that I do love scripture because there's so truth in it. Because that was my first remembrance of all these things I was doing to get to somewhere. And when we stop trying to get to that point and remember we're already there, allow ourselves to receive what's already around us. And we literally do become the ripple effect. This is what my I am journeys are. They are the ripple effect, that creating tidal waves that are shifting paradigms and birthing in a new earth. This is something so precious, because when I was little, I would look at the stars and ask to go home. And was out in the stars, and I felt I didn't belong here. I felt I didn't fit in. I wanted to end my life because it was so painful being here, because I didn't know how. And so what I've remembered is the more I come home in me, and we come home through our feeling world, connected to our subconsciousness, and the more we come home within our bodies, be the embodiment, not the embody, the I embodiment, embody. That's how we co-create heaven. And this is what I am witnessing now. This is why my enthusiasm is bursting through. Someone called me a supernova the other day. I go, I received that. I'm a creative tornado of love. And I used to shame those aspects of me. And speaking of addiction, shame is, I was like, AA in a new way. And I was like, no, activate alignment. That's what AA is. The old ways. Let's activate alignment.
That's
within
a new
ourselves,
way. Love it.
instead of the addiction outside of ourselves. What about the addiction inside? Addiction to shame, addiction to comfort, addiction to pain, addiction to all these things. And then when I discovered shame is a silent killer of life, it was because shame is right or wrong, good or bad, not enough, too much, broken, all these aspects. And when I allowed myself to stop shaming shame and stop trying to show up right or wrong, and literally one of my daily prayers is I say, God, source, speak through me, who can touch the hearts of one, who can touch the hearts of many. Allowing just one heart instead of trying, oh wow, my lights just flashed. That's really cool. This is the second time it's happened now. And allowing ourselves to be open up. We are all such powerful beings. And this is what I am here for, is restoring our power back into love, because we have given away our power for far too long to sources outside of ourselves. And so we literally are, like you said, the butterfly effect. We are being the change. There's no more waiting for things to happen. We are the ones, and the door opens in when we connect in, and also connecting with all the what I believe is we were designed to forget. And as
absolutely, we have
connect,
been designed that way.
Yes, and as we connect, we are literally activating codes within our DNA. This is what I am currently experiencing. So much quantum activations being uploaded and receiving so much.
Thank you. It's funny you said that, because from everything that I've heard from each of the panelists today, it's like energy is us. We are by the core of it, at a cellular level, right? It is in our DNA. It is part of our stream of being physical and experiencing this earth emotionally, right? And I think that the more of us that open up our hearts to this energy, the more collectively we will rise together. It's been a slow process, and I know I've been at it since 2012, and I'm sure Roger and Lesley, you've been at it a lot longer than I have. So it's kind of like you said, back then it wasn't cool. Now it's cool. Now everyone wants a part of it, and we're like, we're already halfway through. What are you talking about? You want to be part of it now. It kind of makes me laugh, but I'm really, really loving this conversation around how this conversation, even in itself, wouldn't have happened 12 months ago. It still would have been back then this, what's quantum? What's consciousness? Like, it kind of feels like it would have been in that light. So thank you so much for sharing with us those answers to that question. Now, is there any questions at this point from anyone who is watching? And I can see that Josette has also joined us. Good morning. How are you? So my second question that I would love to open the floor with is, how has our understanding now of quantum consciousness, now that we've had a bit of a conversation around it, changed over time? I know, Lesley, you touched on that. It wasn't so cool, but now it kind of is. And what are some of those key ideas and theories that have emerged, do you think, from this? We might start with Janaki. We'll start with you, hon.
So another thing I'm passionate about is integrating unity. When we see through the lens of love, There's no separation. And something that just came through me today that I received of this old narrative, the lie about ego. And people say, oh, if you're proud of yourself or you are blah, 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 that's ego. The ego is believing that you're separate from. I was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it was just so simple.
And do you
that,
think that has changed over time? Do you think that that belief or that perspective has shifted over? I'd love to hear for you to expand on that too.
I'm definitely witnessing this. There's so many people that are coming to me now because I was the little girl who was made fun of because I was so different. So, and so many people are coming to me now, and they're being attracted like magnets. And so when we speak with love, when we speak from our hearts, we speak into all hearts of our planet. It doesn't matter your belief, religion, whatever it is. When you speak the truth of your heart and you take off the mask, that's what I've discovered in my journey, is taking off the mask. What are those things that we've hidden behind ourselves? What are those lies that we've told ourselves or believed in from others? And take off the mask. Then we get to witness all the magic, all the miracles, and the synchronicities that are constantly around us. And it's allowing ourselves, like you said, show up. It's simple as that. That's the message I keep receiving. Show up. That's all it takes. We've made up, there's so much to do, and it's really about who we're being, not the doing.
Yeah.
We're living now with our being.
Yeah, and I can sense that through that it's changing over time. Like it's an evolution of quantum consciousness, of course, but you know, as you said, it's like we are always shifting and changing and speaking in different ways and doing different things, and just being aligning ourselves to that.
Yeah, like the old masculine energy was doing. Let's do, be busy. And now we're like, no, let's be and allow the doing support who we're being. That's what I'm
Absolutely. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Jennifer, I'd love to hear your perspective here.
I would say that we're definitely elevating in consciousness just from, so I'm a 5-1 in human design. So I do a lot of investigating.
You certainly do.
I have been observing especially like 6 years now, how consciously we've been changing.
So what would you say that you've seen change over time?
Well, we'll just say like a theory can go out there and a lot of people may reject the theory, but in 6 months, it's like the talk of the town. Everyone's talking about it. So there's definitely a shift that is happening within individuals that they may be recognizing cognitive dissonance or really doing a deeper reflecting in themselves to seek the truth. And I think the more that we do this, we get back to our heart centers, we start getting back connected to our higher selves. The shift in the consciousness level is going to change. Quantumly, when we shift inside, we're going to shift everything on the outside.
Absolutely.
And there's more light warriors that are stepping in, spiritual people that are doing this. So it's kind of, I'm seeing it accelerate at a faster rate, especially this year. Last year, I got the message. It was the point of no return. And it's been escalating, especially like this whole, from the beginning of the year till now, with these energies, it's just adding everything.
We had a brief conversation earlier about having some forced action from a card you received earlier. So it kind of feels like that message is quite powerful for you right now, that everything is accelerating at such a fast pace that this forced action is kind of being bestowed on you for a greater purpose.
Yes. And well, we touched at the beginning, Roger did, with our thoughts are energy. The fast, the more we raise in consciousness, the faster that manifestation process is going to happen. So if you're hearing the call and you're not stepping into it fully,
can we smack you by the side of the face?
Yes, something's going to happen that's going to push you. And I always tell my clients that it always goes back to you doing your work. The more that you break through yourself, the shame, the guilt, everything that's standing in your way, that's where you're going to start to see different levels of perspection, and we're going to massively shift the planet.
Absolutely. I 100% agree. And the clarity that comes from just tuning into your heart, you know. One thing that I have certainly noticed for my own personal experience since 2012 is that my mental health has significantly increased. The more I'm connected to my divine self and the more I listen to my intuition and the guidance that I receive, the more my mental clarity and my emotional clarity and my physical clarity shows up, right? The more I want to do this. It's kind of addictive.
It's a great thing to observe and witness when you're watching through your experiment.
Absolutely, 100%. Thank you so much. Lesley, how has our understanding of quantum consciousness changed over time? And what are some of those things that have emerged that you've noticed?
You know, I find myself changing, you know, as to two different businesses and where I need to be, like I said before, you know, working not just with the animals, with the people, but now it's moved more into helping with groups of people. When you think about many of us who are here, we already went through a change. Either we were born this way and we're remembering a lot of what's gone on, where we came from, or our own talents and our abilities. But there are so many who haven't even touched the surface, but yet they're feeling like, oh my gosh, my skin feels uncomfortable. I don't know what's right. You know, they grew up hearing that, oh, well, you're really good at math or you're really good at science, so you go work in that. Your parent was a doctor. The other parent was, you know, a lawyer, whatever it was. Follow the family business. And they're getting to this point where they're looking around, especially because of, you know, the lockdowns that we've had, the isolation that we've had, the discontentment in their jobs, especially, and they're going, this doesn't feel right anymore. There's something more than I'm here. And that's that discernment that a lot of the panelists are speaking about. That's that inner knowledge that they still don't have that clarity, awareness, and perception yet to know how to really move forward. So there's still a lot of like fog around people, but they are, you know, going, okay, if this isn't working, then I've got to find out what is. And I think that's right why we have the light warriors that Jennifer talked about. There are so many more here because we are all needed to be that guidance, to hold that space of love and compassion. So just as, you know, opening up your hearts and really getting in touch with that, where so many have walled off their heart because they were afraid. So now with the quantum changing so much, that's just kind of, you know, wearing away on
kind of feels like it's trickling out.
Yeah, and it's quicker when you're working with people now. You know, you tell them, well, I feel a wall, and they go, I knew there was something there. And as they recognize it, all of a sudden they go, oh, well, you know, do you want to release that? Yeah. Gone.
Yeah. Oh, look, you know. I'm hearing you, because COVID was huge for a lot of people. Like, I mean, the whole entire planet. Like, it wasn't just a country or a state. It was the entire world that was, you know, and I'm forever grateful for that time that I was able to sit and reflect and be in my own little space. As crazy and batty as it drove me, you know, a good old little introvert here still likes a quiet space, but even I was climbing the walls. But yes, it was certainly a game changer in that quantum field. And I think I heard the statistics just recently that out of the 7 billion people in the planet, there's around 2 billion of us that are open right now. And there are more coming online every day, like millions coming online every single day. So that's just proof in our work that it's working. Absolutely. The job is being done and we are doing this. So thank you so much, Lesley. Roger, lastly but not least.
I started receiving some guidance about what might be coming years ago. In 2016, I wrote this article, so uncomfortable, but I said it, but I was guided. I said, I have to write it. And it was called, I Might Be Slightly Racist with Misogynistic Tendencies. That why
That would have been completely out there.
It was, especially then, because what are you talking about? And I was getting said, no, we have to understand, we all have these in our DNA, we all have connections to the past, which we're meant to let go of and move through. Then I received another message that many years later that said, your ancestors are watching with curiosity. Meaning, what are we going to do to make things better that they hadn't completed? Because we're a continuation of consciousness. And so I was said, this is going to be a generational shift, meaning that all of our old ideologies and limited thinking and all that would be coming to the surface. And then when you put a whole bunch of people together with that coming up, there might be a little conflict. And so we have to remember what we're saying. And as you were saying, how not a lot of people have caught on yet. So we have to be aware that we have to be the light, the example, so that they can see it. But we have to acknowledge what might have been within us first to move through, you know, and also to give ourselves a little bit of a break because it's heavy. And the stuff that we might be experiencing individually would be feel a little burdensome, let's say. So
absolutely. Yes.
But we're up leveling the collective is what we're getting to. Yeah.
Absolutely. And with every generation, we're up leveling our DNA and our cellular memory. Right. We're healing I think the last, again, I'm going to go a little bit logical here instead of woo, but with the statistics, we're healing not 7 generations now. And this is the emphasis on the change that quantum consciousness is giving us, that we used to be able to clear 7 forward and 7 back. We can now do 14, 15, 16 forward, 16 back. That's phenomenal. Like to be able to change core cellular on that level to that extent is phenomenal. No wonder why we're moving at such a fast pace.
Right. Another thing you said, I want to point out, you talked about the butterfly thing. I received another message though, about we are the butterflies, meaning that many of us have been in these cocoons for a while. And so we're about ready to breaking free from that so that we can fly.
Oh, that is magical. That is truly magical. Thank you, Roger. That is, wow. And so Josette has asked here, do any panelists have suggestions to rectifying fractal patterns held by individuals in their consciousness or unconsciousness? Would anyone like to share that answer? Jennifer.
Yeah, I love this topic because I actually just did a full masterclass on this. Ho'oponopono.
Yes.
It on a quantum level, and that's what the masterclass was all about. You said it just a moment ago. This memory gets held in our DNA. So we have so much data that's running within just our subconscious. I talked about RAS, the reticular activating system. She just keeps bringing things up that, you know, we may not remember, giving you those memos and stuff like that.
Yeah. You want a white car? Here, I'll show you all of them.
Yes, exactly. So when it does come to fractal patterns, I love going back to that technique because it's simple. It helps us get back into the 0 state, which immediately we get into the law of inspiration, and we're not running on the law of memory and data because some of the stuff that's running again is not ours. It could be ancestral stuff from our parents. Programming, I mean, it comes from all different fields. We're never going to truly know. But when you get into the habit of doing Ho'oponopono, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you, that will help you start the cleaning process so that we can transmute what's actually going on. So
Thank you, Jennifer. I do remember using Ho'oponopono once. I think I was quite angry with my ex-husband at the time. It had not been long after we had divorced, you know, and it was just having one of those moments where life was just like, oh my God. And so I just, for the entire 20-minute car ride to work, I was like, please, thank you, I love you. And it was just by the end, I was crying. I was in that much peace and gratitude of like, whatever I was letting go. It was just beautiful. So thank you for the reminder of that as well. Does anyone else, I see Janaki, you've got your hand up. You have an answer to rectifying fractal lines?
Yes, what I found is actually through my own journey, because I used to shame my mess. And when I was doing, I call this Holy Trinity, Forgive and Fully Live, where I got to experience myself as multi versions of myself, including my highest self. And through the experience, I remembered all those pieces. I've meant to experience all those pieces, because what's true is bringing those pieces back into wholeness. So acknowledging those pieces, our inner child loves to be acknowledged. So acknowledge what we feel instead of brushing over it. Acknowledge, what are you really feeling? Acknowledge there. And then what I do is I call upon my divine team and I say, okay, I have yet to love this. Who in me can? And God, help me love. Legions upon legions of angels, help me stay love, because the power of love, all it takes is one drop of love, one mustard seed of love, and that is quantum, is love. And so when we can be in the frequency of love, and then that's why I love doing those in my I am journeys. We go into those shadows of those pieces that you've yet to love, to bring them together into wholeness. And loving those pieces, because each of those pieces have given you golden nuggets, because as Allison was saying, we're here to have a human experience. We're here to experience all those pieces. And there's gold in every little ball of shit, there's a nugget of gold. Someone shared that with me one time and I go, yes, that is so true. So I say, I hope you turn your perceived shit holy, because it's not. We're just bringing what is the gold in this experience. And so letting yourself, when you do finally receive what's the gold, what's the wisdom in this experience, and asking your higher self, trusting in your heart, then that pattern no longer requires to repeat itself.
Yes. Thank you, Janaki. And the one thing that I took away from that is like, you don't have to know exactly what it is, just let it go. Just like hand it over, go, there you go, this is all of it. I don't know what it is and I don't know what's inside, but here, have it, take it. And you just like, and it's perfect timing because it is a full moon too. So that is our perfect time to start going, here, universe, this is the shit I don't want anymore. Here, take it and burn it and get rid of it, and whatever else you want to do with it, I don't care. I don't want it anymore. So that's a really good, healthy way to get rid of it too. So this is the time where our audience gets to ask questions. So if anyone has a question, if you are on the Zoom, please put it in the chat or raise your hand. Or if you are watching us on Facebook, please put your comments down and Sophia will divinely guide me to those questions as we show up. It's 11:11. So again, with the divine timing, we'll just, so we have around 15 minutes left of our conversation. What I would like to do is, I don't have any more questions and I'll see if the audience does have any. One thing that I do want to go into is just more about that cycle of quantum consciousness. And Roger, I have a question for you because Spirit are asking me. So I'm just going to ask the goddamn question because they won't leave me alone until I do. And please take no offense because it's just being guided. But back in the 60s when it was flower power and it was the age of whatever, the dawning age of Aquarius.
Right.
Going back to that question of how things have changed, they're kind of asking me, you experienced that era.
Oh, yeah.
How was it different from now? Just while we're waiting for the questions.
We're more aware. We thought about this whole jumping timeline things. We have to think about that because there was a time that we thought the age of Aquarius was happening back then. We had the film, the movie, all that was coming about. But the universe said, no, that wasn't it. It's now. And when you mentioned 2012, when you started coming around 2000, that was a definite shift.
Yes.
That was, you knew
I think there was
that.
billions that woke up then.
Yes, exactly. And they called it the 2012 phenomenon. And which I had no idea. And I'm told, oh, we gave you all this stuff in 2012. It made no sense to me. So, and I got to see that and telling me that, oh, because you have experienced all those other things in your earlier life, you can bring more awareness to what's happening now because we repeat things. It's cyclical. And so when we understand that, yes, we're repeating those cycles, we're trying to make the civilization better, but we've done that throughout time. But this is a big shift. That's why it's been so dramatic. But when we understand it, we make a much better world, which is what's coming about. We just have to get through all the crap first.
That goes with it. Yeah. And I'm kind of getting this sense that similar to back then, we're kind of going through this cycle again.
Yes.
Right? It kind of feels like we are here as the collective, as the light warriors of that collective, to bring about that evolution of now, similar to what that flower power revolution was back then.
Right. And one of the things that kept coming up for me with channeling and all that, I'm doing a channeling session tomorrow morning, as a matter of fact, but what kept coming through was looking at 100 years ago. Because when we looked at that time, we can see things that were happening. We had a pandemic, we had a lot of things, and we operated not in the same way, because it was kind of opposite with some of the things that we did back then. But the fact was, it was a change in our civilization that we were supposed to pay attention to. And we're trying to complete that in some way. It's what we're moving through now. And we are the ones who've been given the platform now to bring in this better world. And I think you said, ushering in the new world. That's what we're here doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I get really jazzed by this conversation because it is constant. It is always moving. It is always expanding into something different, something new. And it's really lovely to hear the take from everybody.
Female energy. We had to talk about this. We had to understand. And this was a generational, we had to look at this. That's why the misogynistic thing came up for me back, because we had to look at it. We've carried around this idea for however long back you want to go. Oh, women are not quite equal. And then when we start feeling that power shift, then the ones who want to keep things where they were are going to say, no, well, let's not change that yet. But we have to bring in more light and awareness. And that's what we're all doing.
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. I totally agree with you. Yes, Lesley, please share.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of put in my couple of cents here with that kind of conversation. When Roger's talking about like 100 years ago, think about the industrial age just starting, electricity in homes, and how quickly it went into cycles and kept growing and growing, even from the TV to the home computer. And we're going into another cycle now that is, we've already started it. And that's that cycle of carrying around a computer everywhere you go and watching the younger kids, that computer, to being told that AI is going to be writing all of your prescriptions, to your articles, to every facet of corporate world. And it's like, well, wait a minute now. You buy into so much of that. Don't forget your humanness, because what makes us human and what makes us special is what every one of these panelists has said, is like finding that inner guidance and that wisdom and that discernment for these changes that are coming about as well. And just as Roger brought up, the whole female thing too, is that, it's not one or the other. It's let's come into balance. Let's not do any more of the pendulum movement, but more of a balance.
Yes. And I have this reminds me, I received a beautiful gift from the universe in the form of a dingo back in August. And he told me his name was Ubuntu. And I had no idea what the hell that meant or what it was until I looked it up. And Ubuntu is African philosophy for I am because you are. So we are all one because we are all the same. We're all here, right, together on this planet doing the same goddamn thing. Like, I can't understand the separation. It frustrates beyond me, but that's a topic for a different day. Janaki, you said you had something to add just quickly before we wrap up, and I get you to give us your free gifts and whatnot.
Yes,
we do have a question.
So one of my things I keep receiving is, we've already done the work. Now let's play. And I have an acronym for play. Powerful love aligns you. And play is the fastest way we move through consciousness.
Yes.
And my daughter even reminded me yesterday I was working, and she goes, "Mommy, take a pause and play with me. Let's go play." And I go, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
I do agree with you, because there is 5 words that will kill our joy, if you want to call it that. It will stifle us, it will block us, it will do all of those things, and I call it false judgment. So it is fear, anger, love, sadness, and enjoyment and judgment. So those 6 words at the very core of us is what blocks, stops, stifles anything that you can think of, the spectrum of stops us from living in that joy. And while love and enjoyment are part of those words, if we have been conditioned, right, by life or by previous lives in the wrong manner, then that love is going to look conditional, or that enjoyment is going to look conditional. So in mindfulness, that love may not have been received in the right manner, or that enjoyment may not have been received in the right manner. And we can concur with that in the form of, rape and sex, right? Sex is enjoying, but rape is not. Yeah, just in the polarity of things, which segues into the question that Joseph is asking, which I've just seen. She's asking, what would the panelists consider as the dark side? I think I just mentioned that, the dark side of the polarities of quantum. Just quickly, would love to hear from, yes, Roger.
I'd say it's the quality of the energy that we're putting out. It's the negative energy. We know what that is. It has weight to it. It's judgment. It's the lack of love. That's all that it is. And so
it's that false judgment.
Exactly. And so we have to look at this particular period. We have to look at duality. We have to move beyond the duality without our judgments of right or wrong, and just knowing that how we feel, because that's been given to us. We're supposed to feel good. And that's the thing that we have kind of sometimes forget, as was just being said. Playing, yes, I love that so much, because it has been heavy, and we have to remember that as well. But if we are able to uplift ourselves, then that will be the example. Someone was talking about the other folks that we're looking who may not have gotten there. Well, we have to shine brighter. If they don't have, if they're having the darkness, then we got to shine brighter. And a lot of times that's challenging for us, because
it requires a lot more time, energy, and other aspects of ourselves that perhaps we're not willing to give either.
Yeah. So I talk about it because I've been pushed. I feel it. I've been pushed. Like you, I'm an introvert. I'd rather hide out. Let me just be close up.
I want to hide out now. Well, see, I'm also a 2-line profile in my human design, which is the hermit. And oh, by jingos, don't I love to hermit.
Oh, yeah.
So very mindful of that one. Thank you, Roger. Janaki, what about you? What's your consideration on the dark side of polarity around the quantum?
Well, as I shared earlier, the things that you've yet to love about yourself, those things we hide from ourselves. Because what I've remembered is the more I allow myself to embrace the perceived darkness, the reason why we have the opposite of those polarities to remind us of who and what we really are to experience. And so when I stopped shaming the illusion and say, thank you, illusion, for showing up. Thank you for reminding me what's true and being grateful for all the things versus like, oh, let's get through this. I don't want to do this. And allow ourselves to really be the alchemist. That's the purpose of, that's what I feel the darkness is so we can be the alchemist and alchemize everything back into gold. Ooh, I just received for our golden age. That's what the purpose is. I just received it just now. It's for our golden age. We're birthing in our golden age. So we all get to be the embodiment first of the alchemist. So we get to experience the dark. So our light can be birthed in through the dark and emerge together. Light and dark are one. Wow, that just came through. Thank you for that question.
Very wonderful. How awesome to receive such a divine message whilst we are live. Thank you. Lesley, what's your take on this?
I have to follow her divine message? No. I love what everyone has to say, but it is, I think you're right. When it comes to shadows, though, it's not to fear the shadow, but to embrace it. And by embracing it, you really do discover something within yourself that you might not have realized was there. So it's just keep embracing and loving and knowing and understanding, going deeper. That just opens up to the light, right? Because you can't have one without the other.
That's exactly right. 100%. And if we can just make it, and I mean, thank you for that, because it just reminds me to share this too, that we only need 51% to be better. 51%. That's, or it doesn't have to be at 100%, doesn't even have to be at 80%, just 51%, 1% better than what we were yesterday, 1% better than, again, what we were yesterday. Thank you, Lesley. Jennifer, lastly, and we'll dive into wrapping up.
Wrapping up at what everyone else had to say, which was beautiful. Thank you, guys. And I love what you ended, 1% being better. That's the one thing that really kick-started my journey, was every day I woke up with, how can I be better today than I was yesterday? And that really started to shift. But going back to the polarities, I loved looking in my human design, what was on the other side of my hanging gates. That's the other side of whatever it is that I'm seeking. Yes. In my open centers, my not self themes, those type of things were what really helped me shed light on loving myself with the things that were happening so that I could merge. I have found on this journey that some people, when they think of ascension or, doing healing work, that these things are going to go away. It's merging, it's marrying, it's getting to know and love those sides of you that are inside of you. Ultimately, it's really just showing you who you truly are at the end of the day. So
yes,
human design really helped me understand that on a quantum level by looking at what was on the other side of the energies.
Yeah, thank you for that. That's a really good way of looking at it. Yes, fantastic. Thank you so much. Well, it's 11:25 and we are just about to wrap up this conversation. This has been epic as always. And I swear I'm going to have to do another one again, just because this topic is so big and so vast that we can never get through it in one conversation. So I want to just lastly go around the room and please share with us what you would like to offer our community today. Let's open the floor, and we'll start with you, Jennifer, since you finished us off last. We'll start with you first.
And I apologize. I was replying to the comments. What was the question?
That's okay. Just what is your current offering, and is there anything you'd like to share with the community to get to know you better?
Yes, everyone can find me on my platform at Rise University. Inside, we have what's called the Courtyard. That's our free community. It's got a plethora of information to help you get started on your journey if you don't quite know where to start. A lot of my clients are light warriors, more into business development. But I have found even if you're going to be a soulpreneur, you're going to have to go through personal development, spiritual development, and business development.
That's a given, isn't it?
It's a given. So it is a choose your own adventure platform where we cover all three. It's just meeting you where you're at on your journey. You may have a plethora of business skills, but still have to work on the personal development and vice versa. So
100%.
Yeah, definitely check me out.
Thank you. And your links will be in the comments as well. So thank you, Jennifer. Lesley, what about you?
I was posting that my website got hit. I don't know if it's Mercury or the solar flares or whatever. So
we'll just call it the cattle prod effect. We're just going to start
exactly. Yeah.
The cattle prod effect.
I like that. That's a good one. So Lesley at lesleynase.com is how you can get a hold of me. Drop me an email. If you are interested in Jennifer's work, but you don't quite know, you don't have clarity of where you're going, that's part of what I can help in a short little session. I can help you at least get some clarity in there, because I do work with business owners, people who are like, I'm not doing the right thing in this world. I need to change, but I'm not sure what that is. So I can take you through a session. Just mention that you saw it here on Sacred You, and we'll go from there.
Thank you so much. Roger.
Yes, I put my link tree in there. It's the Burnley method, and I have a challenge session tomorrow. People can register for that. My online program is there as well. And if anyone wants to schedule a consultation, they could do that too. My program is about really helping us move to that next level. I call it my ascension guide. So people can check.
Why not?
Well, yeah.
Thank you so much, Roger. And Janaki, lastly.
Yes. So speaking of our I am, that's what I'm now been guided to calling my journeys, because it is a quantum activation. It's allowing yourself to slow way down and speed up for the frequency, the quantum frequency of love. And so tomorrow night specifically, I have an I am journey that is I am my divine mother's love, where we connect into the womb of our divine mother, the cosmic egg of creation, and allowing ourselves to be the embodiment of our divine mother, and then being held in our divine mother's love and holding all God's children, all of God's children in divine mother's love. That's what's being activated, and being the ripple effect of tidal waves, shifting paradigms. And so that's tomorrow night. I'll share the link for that. And then I also have my first masterclass of Being the Alchemist, and that is through our Sacred You community, and that is this Monday, and that is a free masterclass. Anyone's welcome to join. So my time, it's Central Time, 4 p.m. I choose to know what that is. Australia time, still learning these time change things.
Time zones are crazy.
I know, it doesn't really exist, but it's fun to play with.
It's 6 a.m. Sydney. Is it 4 p.m. Eastern?
4 p.m. Central Time.
Central, so, okay.
Yes, and it's on the 8th. It's on the 8th. And so that one is allowing ourselves to be the alchemist. And I'll be sharing my journey and what it's been to be the alchemist. And then I'll share my new receiving, what I just on this journey here of all of our collective, the DNA activation that I received through all of us of our golden age. Wow.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And 4 p.m. Central works out to be 7 a.m. Sydney. So for those who are interested.
I also am a tribe leader of Sacred You for Sounds of the Soul, where it's a place where allowing yourself to be the sound soul, your full expression, take the mask off, share what you choose to share, and then whatever inner guidance messages, it could be meditation, sound activation, whatever comes through. It's pure fun.
Thank you so much. And lastly, just to wrap up before we close the doors. My name is Allison Cotton, and I am a soul connector, an intuitive mentor who supports soul-led coaches and healers regulate their mental health and wellness. I'm also a big, huge lover of human design, been at it since 2012. At first, it was just for myself, and over the years, it's expanded into my children and into my business and then into other people's businesses. So if any of that is if any of that is curiosity to you, then please join my free masterclass called What the Fuck is Human Design on May 15, where you will be able to get the rundown of what that means for you. Links will be in the comments. So thank you all so much for joining this panel. I truly appreciate it. And to our guests and to our online viewers, thank you from the bottom of my heart. And until next time, we shall see you all soon. Thank you. Sophia, over to you.
Thank you, Alison. And yes, and what a wonderful panel. Oh, my God, I've been here taking notes and writing everything down. And I agree with you, Alison. I do think we have to have part 3 stuff next time very, very, very soon. So thank you. And of course, Alison is doing the What the Fuck is Human Design panel discussion that's coming up. Alison's also the host of the Aligned by Design Human Design Tribe. Do click on the links. We haven't put them in the chat here, but in the comments for everyone who is watching, we have all the panels that are coming up because we are launching. We're launching Sacred You. So over the next couple of weeks, we're really excited. We've got 11 masterclasses, 4 panels that are all part of the launch. Do click on that. Our beautiful Sue Rumack, who is joining us in the audience today, is next with, very quickly, if I may, very, very quickly, is taking control of overwhelm. That's coming up in just 2 days' time. But come and join us, because if you join us today, you join us just for $1 Australian. You get 3 weeks to try out Alison's tribe, the Human Design Tribe, Janaki's tribe, the Sounds of Soul, thoroughly recommend it, and Sue's Life Force Activators, Josette, who's also joining us today, the Path of Self-Esteem, and many, many more, just $1 Australian. After the 3 weeks, it's just $15 Australian a month. But if you join us today, you get access to all of the recordings of our 11 masterclasses and 4 panel discussions on top of that. So do click on the links to join us today. Thank you ever so much to our
pleasure. And thank you so
panel.
much, everybody. It has been very, very a great conversation.
It's been wonderful, and I look forward to seeing everyone again sometime soon.